Of course, the Visteon Corporation received benefit in kind, despite what it claims. It couldn't manufacture a particular drive shaft at any plant on earth other than Swansea. It had tried and failed. That's the real benefit of highly skilled and properly remunerated workforce, not that either Visteon or Ford seems to care. Sensing that the game was up, the two colluded in what was known as Project Kennedy, duplicit resourcing and stockpiling so that Visteon UK could be closed without any disruption to Ford's output. It is worth noting that even though over 500 men were made redundant on March 31st last year, Ford lost not one single day of production. The expertise and benefits it claimed not to have received from the UK were hived off to a new business, Visteon Engineering Services, with a new pension plan. It is here at the company's headquarters in Chelmsford that you will find Visteon UK's former senior officers, the architects and executioners of a plan which, while not illegal, was certainly duplicitous and morally inexcusable, seeking as it did to deceive men and women who had never done anything other than work hard for many years for Ford and for Visteon. If the judge in the US decides to refuse Visteon Corporation's objections and winds up the company, it is quite possible that production at Ford would be considerably disrupted, to the point where it might well be more sensible for it to put its hands up and agree to sponsor the Visteon UK pension fund, as it has already done in the US for Visteon workers there. The cost for doing this would be limited to around £15 million per year. This step would also avoid possible legal action by Unite, the Visteon Pensions Union, which has apparently agreed to take the corporation to court to demonstrate that it reneged on pension guarantees when it spun Visteon out of its core business. That would be an easy route. So far, Ford and Visteon remain trenchant in their opinion that they have done everything that they could do to support UK Visteon pensioners, and no doubt they will have to be dragged kicking and screaming into court too. Ford continues to describe the situation as unfortunate. Losing a button is unfortunate. Being robbed of a lifetime pension after such clear commitments from an employer like Ford is a tragedy, and a tragedy affecting all the employees that transferred to Visteon. It's hard to follow Ford's thinking. I can't pretend I understand the company's spending priorities, but only yesterday it reported Q1 profits of £2.3 billion for 2010, a 6-year high. Its shares are at a 5-year high. It plans to increase production by 9% this year and expects to remain profitable through the rest of the year. Sponsoring the UK pension fund would not amount to 1% of quarterly profits. At the present time, the Visteon pension scheme is being assessed for entry into the government's pension rescue process, the Pension Protection Fund. The Visteon management may have seen the failure of the pension fund as simply something to be picked up by the PPF, and may therefore have acted with less care towards it. The pensions regulator is now investigating this situation. The overriding concern for Swansea Visteon employees is the long-term security of the PPF, as payments are already as much as 40% lower than the Ford Visteon scheme. Those payments could be reduced at any time, or the fund could be closed altogether. There is a wider question over how corporations take advantage of schemes for employment and can be compelled to fulfil their obligations when they close factories. And this is an issue for the Assembly. Pensions are a matter for the UK Government, while the trustees, the PPF and Unite are doing what they can to seek redress for these workers. I have to say that I haven't seen much from the UK Government, from the Welsh Secretary, nor from the Pensions Secretary, that convinces me that it is at the pensions regulator's back over Visteon. Sure, we've had a few letters flying about and a number of robust denials, particularly from Peter Hain, that he is doing little to help the pensioners. But you don't sense the urgency, the prioritisation from the Labour UK Government ministers. This has become a bit of an issue for me, because ministers have rightly said that they don't have the relevant devolved powers. They have asked their UK counterparts to take up the issue, but there is only so much leading to water that the Welsh Government can do. However, there is a wider debate to be had about what kind of company we want here in Wales. Of course, we want the Fords of this world to come to Wales. Such companies provide highly skilled, well-paid work that filters out into the wider Welsh economy, albeit too often on a sliding scale. We need to get past the myth that local suppliers do well out of such big companies. Ford in Bridgend, for example, sources most, if not all, of its parts abroad. This is crucial because if we are to have grant structures here in Wales that awards funding to companies that come to Wales, it should be paramount that those businesses continue to benefit our economy over a meaningful period of time, that they become drivers for the use of our money, that those benefits continue to ripple further outwards. Of course, none of us can guess the future economic movement, and in giving grants, we are taking the same kind of risks as those in the private sector. But we must be mindful of the long term, and we must ensure that we look past the prestigious name and examine instead the track record of these blue-chip corporations and decide whether they can bring sustainable advantage to the Welsh economy or if they are simply benefiting themselves in the short term. To do anything else would only assist in concentrating the wealth in the hands of a very small group of executives that very rarely live in or care about Wales. They, of course, are not our concern. We are charged with the welfare of our constituents. Can we really shrug our shoulders and allow former workers in Wales, men and women who have retired, to sell their retirement homes and return to the workplace? Can we really stand by and leave them to the possibility of many uncertain years ahead, when they are at a time of their lives when they should be enjoying the fruits of their labours? Should we not all do what we can when we have workers, some of whom only spent 6 months with Visteon after 40 years with Ford, that now have nothing? And can we really allow our economy to be played like a Stradivarius by callous opportunists who take what they can and then expect the Welsh Government, and by extension the Welsh people, to sweep up their mess? Thank you for listening, and thank you to all the ex-Visteon workers who have come here tonight. I sincerely hope that the Welsh Government can help you, and I sincerely hope that Unite will take this legal action against Ford. Diolch yn fawr.
Thank you. Brian Gibbons. Thank you. Thank you.